Anytime you have to release a statement that says someone is welcome,
they ain't welcome.
And it lets you know Bill Belichick put his foot down.
Yep.
He put his foot down to make them make that release of that statement.
All right, so we are going to start today with something that's been intriguing to me, and I want your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in Connecticut, so obviously I'm a big Patriots observer. I don't say fan, it is what it is, but I've been intrigued by what Bill Belichick was able to do and has been able to do. And anytime I hear him talk about football, I'm like, shit, that's really good. His insight is really, really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk about what's going on with him, UNC, his girlfriend. I'm going to read a couple things to you and I want your opinion. So UNC reportedly, I don't know that they banned his girlfriend from the football facilities, although they're denying that at this point in time. She's no longer permitted at Tarfield football facilities, reports Pablo Torre. A few hours after his report.
Very credible guy, though.
Okay, good. So
Yeah,
credible dude. Thank you.
He's worked at ESPN previously.
He ain't some guy out there just spitting stupid shit. He's a credible dude.
Yes.
Okay. So, while Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the university, this is from UNC, or Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to the football facilities, the university said. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university, which sounds like she can still hang around and do his branding stuff, but please stay away from the football stuff. That would be cool. Outside of that, as a former New England Patriots, Belichick's, and then talks about a few people like Julian Edelman had a very interesting, and I've seen some of the clips of his podcast, but he said it's quite something to see a longtime head coach creating off-field distractions for his team, because his mantra when we played there was, dude, whatever happens outside the facility cannot be, we can't have no attention here on this. It's the game's hard enough, on and on and on and on. What is your take on what's going on with Belichick, his girlfriend? I watched the interview when she jumped in, was like, yo, we're not talking about that. Kind of grabbed him and put him in his place.
Yes.
What is your take on all this, being a football Hall of Famer and a guy that knows Belichick?
Well, first of all, I know that the Bill Belichick that we saw in all the interview process that he would do in New England, because the one thing that used to get me upset is, and he's a football genius, and people aren't just asking him questions just to be doing things, because sometimes you hear reporters, especially during the week, ask him about the opposition or a player on the opposition, and he will go through an essay on that player. I mean, a special teams player, a kicker, or someone you'll be random, you'll be like, wow, he has that type of information on every subject of football. And he chooses to act like a dumb A. He chooses to not give a lot of information in those things. And for me, as a student of the game and someone who would love to learn even more about the game, that part right there was always a little disturbing to me, because he didn't have to be that way. Because
he was just intentionally a pain in the
ass.
He was
intentionally, and I can understand not giving injury report information, but there were so many real football subject things.
Correct.
And guess what? When he got on whatever, HBO, Showtime, whatever that show was, you could see, wow.
No shit.
Man, this guy is an encyclopedia of information, offense and defense and the history of the game and the players and different styles. So I've always had that about him. Now, at this stage of his life, see, I really know how he is as a coach, and I know how the former players feel about him, that even though, yes, we did sacrifice, there are not a lot of players that love playing for Bill Belichick.
They didn't love it?
No.
Okay.
And you can see that in his retirement. You can see that with the Tom Brady roast. You can see that how him and Tom's relationship fell apart based on control there in New England. But at this stage, when you're really talking about football and love, every person has the right to build fine love.
100%.
I'm in my second marriage. Man, I'm so much happier than any other point in my life, and I can understand that. But I do believe that the public has a problem with the perception of a 70-year-old man with a 24-year-old young lady. And then now he's on a college campus.
Correct.
So that is not a great look for a college campus look as far as he's probably, I know he's the highest paid employee of the university. So now they have to, the board of trustees, everybody, they have to answer to that. Now he's carousing around with a young lady he's not married to, and then she's making decisions that affect their brand.
Correct.
Which is not that. That Tar Heel brand is not that. So I think that, they're looking in their rearview mirror now, and they wish they could have just that. But anytime you have to release a statement that says someone is welcome,
they ain't welcome,
and it lets you know Bill Belichick put his foot down.
Yep.
He put his foot down to make them make that release of that statement.
Do you think that he believes, because he's been very intentional, his entire apparently, like professionally been very intentional, even when he wouldn't give information out. Do you think he really believes, is he just so enamored with the situation? Is he believes she's the best for his personal brand and she's going to help him go wherever the hell he thinks? Is there any part of him as a businessman, as a football guy that believes this is good for his team, or does he think he can outcoach it?
I think thinks he can coach around this.
Okay.
But, Shawn, I'm going to take you back to that early morning, like 6 a.m. when Bill Belichick was disheveled, leaving that Ring camera caught him. Guess what, Bill Belichick, just like any red-blooded other American man. Okay? So I'm going to stop thinking about him intellectually being way up here. I'm going to start be like, he's right down here with us,
with
bro.
Everybody else. He's with everybody else. He's with all of us. Exactly.
You know what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
I mean, at this stage of his life, what else could he be thinking about? So it's a tough look. It's a tough sell. And I'm not shocked that those close to him, that they aren't shocked and somewhat appalled by his overall behavior and the way he's treated, say, the last 6 months, 9 months.
For me, what's confusing is being such an unbelievable figure in the game of football forever. People tend to remember what you did last. They tend to keep a hold of what you're as good as your last play, call, year, and it's hard because I think this UNC thing is going to be, it's hard enough. I think that if I've never one time in my life in any sport I played matter of fact, I had a guy one day I was in business with, and his guy was in charge. And one day, out of the blue, his wife come in and start yelling at everybody. And the guy looked at me and he said, "You ever have any coach's wife come in the locker room and cuss you out?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "I ain't putting up with that shit here either.
Right.
Like I play for him. I'm not. It's not about male. If my woman, if she was the coach, fine.
Right.
But he's the coach. Why is she screaming at us?" And to watch that interview, I was like literally cringing.
It's like me and one of my brothers, Jeff, we're in business together. But we also tell each other privately, we're not in business with each other's wife. If something happens to you, I'm going to take care of your wife and everything, but I'm not going to be in business with her. If something happens to me, take care of my wife, but you're not going to have to be in business with her.
She ain't making decisions I would have made because I'm not here.
Yes.
So do you think this is going to be a tough deal for him at UNC? Like, what's he going to have to do?
Win, man.
Winning forgives everything goes
away.
Win. Right?
Come on. Yes, absolutely. Winning.
Kid, didn't they? A lot of guys have transferred out.
Yes, and they brought a lot of transfers in. They got some money. They're spending they got some money and stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
But you had said a while ago, man, it's going to be hard for him because of the pro level, like you just talked about. He didn't build those relationships with his players. They won, but at the college level, it's just going to be different if he can't build.
It's transactional, and he's not a transactional person.
Correct.
To me, does his mojo work where he can take your worn out tires off your car? Because that's what he wasn't a draft thing. They got lucky on Brady, but most of his draft picks are not great picks. It's his retread. I can take your old tires, retread them, put them on my vehicle, and the way we're going to play the game is we're going to win more that way. Very, very conservative, but we're going to win more that way. How can he do that in the portal? How can he do that with NIL? How can he do that with all this other attention? Because also parents are watching this. So when you have someone who's supposed to be respectable, all this thing, he comes and sits in your living room saying, I'm going to take care of your son. They know that. They see the optics. They can't even ask the question about the young lady that he's dating, but everyone's thinking about it. It's the elephant in the room, but none of the recruits can talk about it. None of the parents can talk about it. But trust me, if your decision is between, I'm going to go between Kirby Smart, Dabo Swinney, and or North Carolina and Bill Belichick, like you're trusting your kid, like, right. Oh man, I'm going to Georgia, bro. I'm going to Clemson. Like the margin for winning these families and kids is like this. I wouldn't bring anything else into the ointment. I mean, if he's in love with her, wants to marry her and everything, I guess that's a different story. But to think that a plus 70-year-old coach has a 24-year-old girlfriend who is partially running the football program and him at North Carolina.
Running around out in the middle of the field.
I mean, man.
Could you imagine Belichick back in the day in the Patriots and Tom Brady's wife wanting to be at practice, walking around at midfield talking shit?
Oh, no, absolutely not. He would have never stood for you.
No.
I mean, Tom Brady couldn't even have his trainer working for the team.
The dude that was trying to help him become better.
The guy that was saving the history.
He did not like it.
Yes.
Because it wasn't his deal. He wasn't in charge.